And welcome to episode 9 of the HIVE Thrive Community Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Shadowspub. Buttcoins is the co-host. Today we're going to have a panel discussion about music on HIVE, and we're pleased to welcome Steevc, who's calls himself a amateur musician who plays guitar and drums, usually at local events. Raven Music is from Germany. Steevc is from the UK. I might as well drop that in there. As a professional music producer and graphic designer, and she started playing drums at 13, starting with electronic music 3 years ago. And these days she plays in rock bands and produces her own style electronic experimental music. And then we have Meno. Meno almost needs no introduction because, he's been around HIVE like forever. But he records albums, plays gigs. Apparently he's a cheese oligarch. I'm not too sure about how to ask about that one. Welcome, ladies and gents. Great to have you here today. Raven, did you have anything you wanted to share with us before we get going?
Hello. So yeah, thanks for having me here. It's the first time I'm here. I'm a bit nervous, like I'm always when I have a live interview. Yeah, I don't know what to share with you before. I mean, do you want me to talk about my
How long have you been
project
on HIVE?
I started with Steam, I don't know, years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I think. So yeah, I've been around pretty long. I had a short break of about like 2 years where I didn't do so much, but then I came back 4 years ago, and since then I'm posting a lot, making a lot of stuff on HIVE, having my own token on HIVE, NFTs, and yeah, different projects.
You're just doing a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Different stuff.
Steevc, how about you?
Yeah, I joined August 2016, fairly early on. Somebody used to be on a site called TSU. Steam people came from there, and somebody said you should check out this blockchain thing, which I knew nothing about, and been annoying people ever since.
August of 2016, we've been around about the same length of time.
Yeah. Well, I was involved with the old open mic that Lucifer did. Met him at some of the fests. Met Meno in Krakow, I think. So I've met quite a few people along the way.
And if memory serves me correctly, you've been behind some meetups in the UK, and you were maintaining a list of UK members, weren't you?
Yeah, I still do the monthly Brit list, and I've tried to produce some lists for other countries using some of the available tools like HiveSQL. And I mean, I'd recommend anyone to get to a meetup, and if nobody else is organising one, do it yourself. If 2 or 3 people turn up, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's one thing about meeting online. We get surprised when we meet people face to face that there isn't really all that awkwardness that might come otherwise, because we already know each other. All we've done is put a face to it.
Yeah, I've met some of the witnesses and the big whales, and they're all people. They're regular people, and most of them seem nice.
And Meno, I know I'm going to have to encourage you to speak because you just hate doing so.
Well, no, I'm glad to be here today. I hope you guys can hold me back from speaking too much because I get carried away. But I'm happy to be here today. I'm happy to be talking about music because that is one of my passions. I'm gonna die with a guitar in my hands.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. At this point, I'm going to put you into Buttcoins' hands because I'm pretty sure he's got a list of questions that he wants to roll with.
Hey, yeah. So I'm very excited to see about the state of music on HIVE. This is I'm a musician myself, but I haven't really always explored enough. I feel like I've touched into like places here and there. So today's show is about what's going on musically on Hive. What is there currently, and what do we feel maybe is missing, and then like how do we move music into the future? So why don't we just get started with a little bit of like individual individual musical experiences here on Hive. Um, Maybe Steve C, do you want to start and just kind of tell us a little bit like of your specific musical journey here on Hive? I know you do a lot of curation that I see, which is really cool. Getting I end up voting for you bring to the attention some really cool musicians that I wasn't even aware were on the chain.
Yeah, yeah, the old open mic thing. I mean, that got me out of my shell really, and into recording videos. Wasn't something I was really into before, so that was sort of the start of it for me. But it's been interesting to find there's lots of musicians that I found through Hive and the previous chain, and we got professional musicians on there who are touring the world, and yeah, and then there's all the amateur competitions and stuff as well. And I think it's great that people have got this outlet, and the fact that people can actually earn from their music on Hive. I mean, if you're on YouTube or something, you need thousands of viewers before you can make a cent. I've never made anything there, and it's an opportunity. I see it. And there's people like the Trouble Notes. You might have seen they're based in Germany, but they're an international band, and they tour some other platforms, so YouTube and X or whatever, Instagram. But it's good that some of them are coming to Hive and posting their stuff. But I'm not really aware of the Discord. Apart, one I wanted to mention is Rising Star, which I think is probably the nearest thing we've got to a hub for musicians. I mean, there's loads of people putting their music up there as NFTs that you can buy, and it's pretty cheap, really, mostly. And if you're playing the game, it helps you in the game as well. And music has been a part of that game from the start. I mean, it's based around music, and I think that has inspired a lot of people. You can listen to music in the game. There's some of mine on there, and yeah, Rising
Nice.
Star I think is one of our greatest musical assets.
Yeah, I actually invited Jux as well to see if he wanted to come and speak. He had a prior engagement, so he wasn't able to come. But yeah, I definitely we're going to dig a little bit into Rising Star a little bit later in the show as well. So yeah, 100% is probably one of the cooler things going on. Let's switch here to Meno. Like, what are you doing here on the chain musically lately, or where do you go to get your musical fix?
Well, lately I haven't been doing much except for sharing my own songs. I still write. I mean, it's been a little while since I shared my last one, but I still write music. But it's one of those things that I always want to revive, I guess. I'm gonna sound old nostalgic, but I thought it was one of the most precious memories of the old legacy chain. We decided to do with Lucifer and the judges of the open mic a songwriting competition, and to me that was one of the best things that ever happened on chain. You know, where we would put out a theme for the week, and then at the end of the competition, we ended up giving away a guitar, and you know, it was just awesome. So I would be down to doing something like that again, because I don't know. I think you were talking about how do we bring people here and musicians wanting audience. Well, I think songwriters, you know, people that enjoy performing their own stuff, you know, are always looking for their tribe, always, and it's such a hard tribe to find. And I thought that was a good honeypot. So I guess that's where my mind is these days.
Yeah, definitely. And I think these are we're going to be getting into that type of thing, like ideas of like how to pull us together. So it sounds like a great idea. I only participated a few times in the old open mic, but I was aware of it, and it definitely, it seemed pretty happening. Let's go here to Raven. Can you give us a little rundown of your musical journey here and what places that you've found and hang out in?
Yeah, so like Steve, I started with Rising Star. That was basically my start point with music on Hive. So I was also in the game very early when we were still testing it. And this is, for me, also one of the best places for musicians on Hive, because not everywhere you have a game about music with real songs in it. You can listen to the radio. You can listen to all the musicians there. You can make NFTs of your own music. People can buy it in the game. So that was a great start for me. And then I tried to look for other things on Hive. Where can I promote my music? So I started with making NFTs, not only on Hive, also on Wax. So making music NFTs or videos, music videos. Also, we have a bunch of NFT sites on Hive. For example, Blocktunes, I think is a really great concept, but it didn't really kick off. I don't know. He has still problems with getting people into it, because that's his concept is a mixture of, he's a distribution service, so you send your music there and he puts it out on Spotify, YouTube, whatever, all these platforms, and in the same time it gets minted as an NFT and people can buy this NFT on the page. So it was like a dual concept, what I really liked. But it was, I don't know, it didn't really get enough people that used it so far. So that's really sad somehow. Then there is the page NFT Tunes. That's also for NFTs, for music NFTs. I also followed this for a while. But the problem is, for me, the music business in general is very hard. So before I started with Hive, I was also a professional music producer for a few years. So I'm doing this for like 11 or 12 years now. And I studied audio engineering. So I don't know. I always had a professional sound with my music, but it was so hard to get the music out there. And the problem is people don't want to pay for music anymore. I think that's really a problem, because today you can get music anywhere for free on YouTube, on Spotify. And so sometimes people think, why should I buy an NFT? I pay and just get a song. This concept is, I don't know, it's not so, I don't know how to explain. People just think everything is for free everywhere. If you put an NFT into a game, that's a totally different thing, because you can use this NFT for earning in the game, for playing the game. It has a different purpose. You can do much more with it. So I thought about a lot of concepts. How can I turn my music into NFTs that have also different purposes? But that's not so easy. So I made a different thing. I created my own token on Hive. And people who bought this token get NFT drops for free. So they get my music, or sometimes just sneak peeks or anything for free. That's a different concept I try to put onto the music and onto NFTs. So yeah, I did a lot of this stuff with NFTs. And I was always searching for music communities or contests where I could put my music in. But it's actually so hard, because all the contests we have, or almost all we have or had on Hive, is only for live musicians. It's only for, you turn on your camera, you do something in front of the camera live, and that's it. If you're a producer, it's a totally different thing. You cannot really participate. And that's a bit sad. So I am missing something on Hive for producers. Yeah.
So
You've been doing that token for a while, Raven. How's it worked out for you?
Yeah, it worked out really well in the beginning. I mean, the last year I didn't do much with it because I was ill. I had my health problems, so I just had to shift this back for a little bit. But before, people were really supporting and buying the token and really listening to the stuff, buying the NFTs. Sometimes I made drops for free. Sometimes they got discounted prices or whatever. So people also started putting more money into buying these NFTs because I made concepts where you like had to get 6 NFTs and then you minted them together for the whole song. So every NFT was only one stem of a song. One NFT was only the drums. The other was only the bass. Then you had to collect them all and you have to mint them together to get the final song. And this was really something that people that got people. They thought, oh, I want to open up a pack. I want to know what's in there. I need these 6 stems and put them together into the final song. So this was a great concept. But the sad thing was I couldn't do it on Hive because we don't have such functions. And I'm not a developer, so I can't just code my own website where you have these functions. So I had to go to Wax to do this because you can make packs there, NFT packs. You can, you don't know what's in there. You can collect stuff. You can put it together to mint it to a different NFT. And that's what I'm also missing on Hive so much because this concept is just great. I'm also a big gamer and I love opening card packs. So connecting card packs with my music and people had to build the songs is just, I really love the concept and I wish I could do it on Hive and I hope someday I can do it.
And what is missing in order to make it happen? Smart contracts? Is that the thing that's missing?
I think, I don't know, like I said, I'm not a developer, so this tech stuff is a bit hard for me to follow. And on Wax, it's just you have a website, you go there, you can like mint your NFTs, you can make packs, put NFTs into the packs, tell the rarity and stuff like that. To make it here, like for example, Rising Star does it. There's NFT packs, you buy a pack and you don't know what's in there. Many games do it. But for me as a non-developer, there's just no front end for it. I can mint my NFTs on these different pages or on NFT Showroom, but I can't mint packs and put different NFTs into packs with different rarities. So that's just the front end for this is missing. I know that Hive can do it, like you can see on all these games, but just for a, let's say, normal user, there's just no front end for it.
So Eco has just commented here. The backend is available on Hive Engine, but we're working on the tech debt now and hope to make easy tools for people like Raven. Her experience is exactly what needs to be considered. So sounds like something underway.
That sounds great. That's the function I'm missing. I would love to do it so I could like really make like my own game, like not a real game, but gamification mixed with music and trading cards. That would be, that would be awesome for me.
It opens up options for other people. Writers could come up with concepts as well. Exactly.
You can buy one page of a book and you collect all the pages and then you mint them together and get a book like that. Yeah.
So why don't we just, because we've now touched into it a couple times. Why don't we actually jump into Rising Stars and the gamification of music that has happened there? I actually he wrote me something, and I'll just read it from Jux. He said he used to run a streaming site, and after he discovered Steam and Hive, he decided that it was a good way to potentially gain new fans to create a gamification of music. And because he was basically struggling to do anything in any other way, and so this is what kind of he was like looking to create something for himself, but realized if he made it into a game, it could support all musicians.
Yeah.
And why don't we just like take like 10 to 15 minutes, and anybody that feels comfortable to speak about like what makes Rising Stars work? What do maybe musicians that are not in Rising Stars yet need to understand about getting in there and getting their music in there? Maybe just give us a little mini breakdown of what is going on Rising Stars and why it's working. And if there is any shortcomings, we can also get into that.
Okay, is that
Maybe Steevc, we'll let Steevc
okay?
do a moment, and then you feel free to cut in if you have a point to make it. It's a general panel, so if you have a
Okay.
point, anybody can feel free to just jump in on it.
Yeah, I think I encountered Jux fairly early on, and he says he's sort of grateful to me for helping him get going and keep going at the start. But I didn't even pick up on Rising Star when it first started, but when I found it, I thought this is cool. I met him because he was at the Amsterdam HIVE Fest. I mean, he's a musician himself, and he's put up some of his own music, and he's created this game. It's basically just him doing the coding, as far as I'm aware. He's got some other people help to do the artwork and stuff, because they've churned out thousands of different cards in the game. It's incredible. Every month there's a whole new set of cards. So Raven's a card, I'm a card, and lots of other musicians have got their own cards. And anyone can put their music on there. You can get your music in the Rising Star radio within the game. And if you want to create some NFTs, there's a small fee for that. But then you can charge whatever you want for them. Most people, it's a few Hive a track, which is pennies really. And yeah, I think it's great because anyone can play the game because there's no startup cost to get on there. It just means you have to be vigilant about people creating multiple accounts to play it. And I've seen people get caught out on that. But he's worked tirelessly on that game, and I don't think he's making any money from it. He's not had a proposal to fund it. He might have applied for one, but didn't get any money. And so it's a labour of love for him, I think. And he's done all sorts of things. He did an album launch for my album a while ago on his channel, and other people he's done that for. He used to do a sort of radio show playing tracks from Hive people. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, there's people like the Stick Up Boys who are very prolific in their music, and they've brought lots of people in, and they've been very involved in the game and promoting it. They're also great producers of GIFs. And yeah, there's just a great crowd around the game.
So let me ask a question. Just for folks that have never played before. Okay, so imagine imagine you are a musician, and you do have some music, and you'd like to get it in. So explain to us the mechanism. Is it like you go in and you play the game and that opens up areas where you can, or are there like multiple areas with like, oh, I don't really play games, I just want to go in and make my NFTs, and I'm separated. How does the mechanism work? Like if say somebody does want to join and be the game and get their own card, and then try to sell their music through NFTs, is it all inclusive, or are there like little separate areas and you pick and choose what you want to do?
Well, as far as I'm aware, playing the game and putting music in the game are two independent things. You don't have to play to put your music in there. You just need a Hive account. As I say, if you want it on the Rising Star radio that you can have playing when you're in the game, I think that's free. But creating the NFT obviously has a cost, but it's pretty low. So, and if you're playing the game, I mean, it's based around music, but you don't need any music knowledge or anything. It's just running missions. There's lots of different ways to play the game. So he introduced a raves feature that a lot of people play, but I'm not into that side of it. So I do other bits like collecting unique cards. So the music is the theme of the game, but music making is a sort of separate thing. But the community of musicians has formed around it because it's supporting them.
I'm curious, Raven, have you found or seen any innovative ways that musicians are using Rising Stars?
Yeah, I mean, so maybe my own story is a good example. So I was in Rising Star right from the beginning. I was one of the test people. So I was made an NFT in the game like very early. So my card is the number 2 legendary card in the game. So and it was funny because so everyone could draw this NFT out of the packs.
Adapt that and just broaden it slightly. I mean, you know, I guess it means somebody taking the time to pull all the musicians together and pull their songs and create playlists. I guess that's what it takes, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's various people out there promoting Hive musicians, and yeah, I mean, I think that it is to get noticed on Hive because we don't have an algorithm to feed stuff to people. You've got to promote yourself, and it's a case of whether people will take the time to do that on Hive if they're busy elsewhere. Because Hive, we have to face the fact that Hive is a small audience. It's a few thousand people, maybe. And yeah, I mean, you could probably earn a lot more per play than anywhere else, but I've seen a lot of musicians come and go. Of fairly big professional musicians have joined up and then given up on it. So we need ways to keep them around and to get them spreading the word about what Hive offers. So I know the Stick Up Boys have done quite a good job on that, and I think the Trouble Notes, I've talked to them and they say they're going to try and promote it more as a place. Because it's good for fans as well. The fans can earn as well as the musicians on Hive.
Well, I was thinking earlier when you guys were talking that, you know, a show in this Discord as a jam session, not using this style of voice channel, but using a stage style where the musician can come up on stage and be more seen, might actually be interesting if somebody wanted to put it together.
I think there's been some stuff like that in the past.
There was in the Palnet server.
Can I jump in?
Years ago, somebody put together a whole compilation album of Hive people, or Steevc people back then.
Yeah, go ahead, jump in there, Meno.
I have an opinion. I don't think it's going to be controversial because when Palnet was happening and we had a radio and we had a hub, I think what we're missing, and you know what, we are right now with all the shows that are happening, these podcasts, these conversations, we are right now recovering from the coma. That's what we are doing. So if you ask me how we can regain that drive we used to have, it's rebuilding those connections we used to have back in the day, having more shows. You know, I guess I'm gonna steal this one from Miko, right? We need more podcasts, but maybe not a podcast, just shows. You know, Shadowspub is the queen there because she never stopped doing her thing, but she's the exception. So many of us, including myself, stopped. Like I had a songwriter show. There was Uniwisp doing one. Whip Girl, even Snook had a radio show. So we had a hub where people would get together and share music, and the radio was playing all the time. And that is kind of what kept the heartbeat so loud. But again, we are reestablishing that foundation. So I think we're on good track to bring that back up. And I'm thinking if we were to onboard good musicians again, bringing people with a following, we not only have to take them to the blockchain, of course, yeah, too, but we also have to make them part of this community, part of these shows, part of these conversations, and that is kind of the trick for it to feel amazing again. What would you say about that, Shadow? I might not onto something here. You that have been soldiering on for 8 years straight.
Well, I think it's important to keep them going, and if they've stopped, start them up again. We've got the nucleus of something starting here, so build onto it by adding, maybe a jam session.
It seems like some of the time these things it's difficult when it's like I'm like one person, but lately we've been doing these like team ups. Me and Shadows are supporting each other. Meno and Eco, you guys are always there to like help and support with in terms of the podcast. And so I feel like it feels daunting, the idea of like starting up a radio show. But if it was like, say, 5 of us who all committed to like, hey, we are going to do this like curated radio show once a week and just start it like that, and then literally just have the music radio show. And it's just like another place. It's another, what I see often, and this is every category or many categories in many niches in Hive, is that it's the connection points. Like, it's like, how do you find your people? I mean, like there's all of the groups, there's plenty of musicians, but how do you like actually make a connection point? We have like little strings of connection. You got Vibes, you can go to Vibes, you can go to Rising Stars, but like, where do you actually like kind of hang out a little bit? So I think the lowest hanging fruit is a radio show, but maybe it's daunting for like one person. But I mean, if there was like a collective of like 3 to 5 people who kind of take turns like making sure that people are getting invited and bringing their music, and it's just a place where, like, hey, if I'm a musician, I try to catch this hour this day. I'm not in the Hive Discord, and maybe it has its own little music branch, and it definitely feels like a low intensity thing. You don't need to code, you don't need anything special. It's just a place to come together.
You know what I'm thinking about, and anybody push back if you want to, because I Raven's idea with a musician having their own token and stuff is kind of blowing my mind, because I've thought so many times about reaching out to musicians that I enjoy and seeing if I can onboard them, and but I didn't have a way to do it. So now I'm thinking of the possibility of building up a DAB. So me and Nico have to sit down and talk about this. That is for onboarding musicians, and let's call it the musician stage or something. And it's a very easy DApp that you can come in, create your own token, all easy. It's got to be cake. I don't want it to be just for nerds. I am a nerd, but it doesn't have to be difficult to use. And they can sign up people that follow them already on Web2, and he can airdrop tokens to them, and they can all win. I mean, that makes so much sense to me. And then if the more tokens that you own, the more perps that you get, and you just build an economy like that. It's like a little silo that feeds itself. You can come in and pay absolutely nothing. You just have your airdrop, or you can come in and contribute a little more and get extra props. I love the idea, Raven. I don't know if you thought it, all the way over there, but I love it.
Yeah, jump in, Raven. What do you got to say on that?
Yeah, so I don't know. My idea behind this was, okay, how can I interest people in my music? I need to be creative. It's not enough anymore to make music because people get music for free everywhere. So I need to build a concept around it. That was the thinking. So this was the idea I came up with. And like people crafting their own song together to finally hear it, I think is a great concept, because that was the only way back then for people to hear this song. So it's really like, okay, if you want to hear this song from this musician, you just have to, buy the packs, pull out the cards and build it together. Otherwise, no chance of hearing it. So that, I think that made people interested in it, because it's like a gamification behind the song, it's not like just, okay, here's my song, listen to it, but it's just more like a gamified thing. And I realized Hive is full of gamification, and people just love this here. People start playing games that normally don't play games, and I don't know, gamification is a big thing also with the Hive Buzz badges and stuff like that. So I just try to use it like a gamified concept. But like I said, we need to be able to build this on Hive and not on Wax, where I did it. So what I think, what you guys said about onboarding. Yes, onboarding is essential, but where I really see a big problem on Hive is it's not only about onboarding, it's about keeping people here. And for musicians, we're not good at this. That's my opinion. Because yeah, we have Rising Star. That's a big thing, a big point for musicians to stay here. Okay, that's one thing. But not everybody's into games. So for me, of course, Hive is about lots of stuff, not only about music, but for me as a musician, I would love to have a whole universe of music here, and we don't have this. So we need different things, different depths for it. Like we're not having a streaming platform, for example. Like you said before, okay, like a Hive radio, that would be a start. We had this concept and it worked and it was great. But I don't know if you guys remember Music for Life. It was a front end and a community on Hive, and they made exactly this. It was for musicians, and they had a radio in their front end. So people were just listening to the songs that were there. So I, as a musician, put in my songs there, and if somebody played them, I got money. And that was awesome. So then this guy just 6 months later, I said, what's going on with this whole thing? And he said, yeah, it's not profitable. I can't earn enough money with it. I will kick it. And I was so sad about it because it was a great concept and he was doing it only to earn money from it, not to help musicians. And so he kicked it 6 months later. And this would have been a good start point. And then there was also this other thing, like the kitty girl just said, Hive Radio. Slothy's project, yeah, it was called Crypto Radio, and it was also a big idea. I also made radio shows on Crypto Radio. I was a host, and I made a whole show there. So this would also have been a nice thing to, yeah, it was a real radio. Like you went on the website and just listened to it like an online radio, and they didn't have it ready to earn money with it and stuff. There's no link anymore. I just looked for it. It's gone. And that's sad. They just stopped at some point. I think
some of these things are key to have. This is why I feel like, again, tapping into eco is these things should be open source so that, okay, well, that guy did that thing, but he left because he didn't want to do it. Man, if it's just, I always find it a shame when something cool gets built, but then it was private, and then you can't, somebody else can't have the impetus to continue it forward, because it would be amazing if some aspect of what you liked about that was just in an open source form, and then the people can keep making it go, right?
Right. Yeah, and so this is so sad because we had starting the starting point for these concepts. People were really already doing it, putting it out, and it was working. And then they just stopped because they didn't earn money with it. I know it's a problem because it's a lot of work. I mean, I get that. I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but I know it's a lot of work. Also putting out music, it takes time. It's not only here's my song, I put 30 hours into my song. No, it's I need to promote it. I need to do this, I need to do that. So it's always the same with these projects. There's a lot of work behind it. And people just at some point are not, I don't know, they don't want to fund it anymore. They don't have the time to work on it. And that's always a problem. So we start building things and then it stops again. And
well, here we get into this thing, this gets into the 80-20 because ultimately it's maybe 80% effort to really build a working site, and you gotta know coding, you gotta know all that stuff. But then we do have this low hanging fruit, that 20% effort that oftentimes makes the 80% thing worth doing and possible to do, which is back again to doing a podcast and taking a little bit of the piece of what you have with the NFTs, and maybe there's some way to very easily be offer an external musician to be hey, we want you as a guest on our radio show, and we want you so literally a piece of the radio show could be every week we onboard a person from outside and show them music, and then it's a jam where any musician that's already on Hive can obviously show and share their music, and then it just becomes a contact point here in the Hive Discord, it doesn't take coding, it doesn't take special knowledge, and it allows us to start building that energy, sort of start building that snowball and that momentum. And then all of a sudden, then we can start moving into like, okay, where do we take this? We've got the momentum, we got the excitement. But right now, there's a lot of dispersed energy, a lot of musicians all in their corners, and nobody really having a connection point. You know?
That's true. And you know what I think also is a problem? So, like we said before, onboarding. So there are concepts for people that try to onboard musicians. So, for example, the Vibes community. I have to say, I don't like it, because the thing is, okay, the idea behind it was good. We need to onboard musicians. But then what kind of musicians do they onboard? In the beginning, I had a lot of talking with the guy that did the Vibes community. I offered my help because he said he can only judge live musicians. And I said, oh man, we already have this. It's like Hive Open Mic and stuff like that. It's only for live musicians. We need people, we need producers to get like professional producers more on Hive. We need stuff for them. So why don't we also let them stuff here, and we can, then also make a contest for them. And he didn't want that because he said he doesn't know how to judge it. And I said, yes, no problem. I'm a music producer. It's easy to judge. There are like, is it produced well? Is it mixed well? Is it mastered well? Whatever. It's easy to judge a contest. I can help. I can do it. So he didn't want that. And the sad thing about it is they have a lot of money they put in. Everybody who puts music on there get huge votes on their posts, and they have a lot of hundreds of euros contest money. So I mean, that's a great thing at first, right? But the thing is that most of these people come into Hive to go for the contest, get big upvotes, or even win the contest, win the money. And then what do? Most of them don't stay here. They just cash out their money and go. And that's sad. It's not like these musicians help to build the music community on Hive. It's more like they just pull out the money and leave again. Not everybody, of course, but that's a big problem I see. So I don't know. We need other onboard things. We need other things to let people stay here, to say, hey, I'm not gonna pull out this money and leave because there's other stuff where I can really like grow as a musician. We need to show them more tools. We need to like have an onboard page for musicians. So, hey, that's what you can do as a musician on Hive. Here's Rising Star. Here's the Vibes community. Here's this and here's that. So why don't we build this, you know?
And Steevc, I was going to say, give us your feedback here, see on Vibes and the how that is going and where let's take a moment and talk about Vibes for a little bit.
Well,
I did see Raven got frustrated with it because they weren't really encouraging produced music. It was just sort of live performances. And I mean, if you're producing music, there's going to be a cost, even if it's just time. But it will be. I mean, people can spend a lot of money producing their music, and the return you can get on Hive itself can be pretty minimal, really. I mean, you might make $5 on your posts or something.
Yeah.
But so there's got to be a reason to be on Hive, and I don't know. And I put up on the chat the TDC Tunes has been promoting his music, and he did a collaboration on an album. He got people to produce artwork for it, and he's not been so active lately. He was at HiveFest in Amsterdam. He did a performance there with his modular synthesizers. But we need people who are going to exploit the platform for what it is. I mean, Hive can't do everything. It's not a YouTube. It's not an Instagram. And it doesn't have that audience of millions. But I think it's still got something. And if I keep saying, if some artist can bring a few hundred fans to Hive, you've got something then, because the fans can vote up all the music they like, and whilst earning themselves, and then you can get into well, the NFTs like Raven's done, and promoting gigs and selling merchandise. And you could do that all within a Hive economy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's enough like-minded musicians who want to build a music community on Hive to come together and work cooperatively to figure out exactly a plan and then bring that plan to the DHF and see if it could get funded.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you're not going to get your Taylor Swifts on Hive, but
oh hell no,
people who are paying gigs to 100 people somewhere and probably aren't making any money in the process could have appeal to them, I think.
Can I?
Yeah.
Would I be able to jump in?
Sure. What do you have in mind, Stark?
Thank you. Yeah, just talking about this general approach. It seems like it's like there's a general top level principle here where, like, we've got to figure out how to retain value and reward valuable people. But a lot, like you were saying, some of those people are cashing out, just using the system. It's not really gonna, it's okay to an extent, but we're gonna have a way to distinguish it. I just like this thing that we just did at Talentland, where we onboarded a bunch of people with a selfie app. So you get your account, you're onboarded with a Hivian who they have to sign to say they onboarded you, and you take a little selfie or a little photo. You can cover your face if you want, but it's proof that this is a real interaction with a real Hivian. And those Hivians, the credible ones, there's a lot of credible people on Hive. If they're signing to say you're a real person, then now you can be supported thereafter, right? So we can build apps and educational games, very simple, that people can complete tasks on Hive, and we'll just auto vote them because we know that they're not here to scam. Because there was that real moment of real interaction. It's an anchor point with a real credible Hivian. So now we can just put all these people on auto voters and keep voting for them, right? And then there's going to be ones that abuse that system, but we can check that and we can take them off the voted lists then. Whereas up until now, Hive's had these autonomous sign-ups where we're not really sure if it's a real person or not. Well, we're moving away from that, and so what it means is, I think in scenarios like with Vibes, if you then if you do a check-in with a real Hivian, now you know that you've got a credible user that's real, that a real Hivian's put reputation behind to say, yes, this is a real person. And then from that point forwards, you can curate that user, and you can combine that then with this KE ratio number and be like, is my Hive going to build stake here, or is this person just using the system to cash out? That combination of things really, I don't know the exact science of it, but that combination of things looks to me like into the future, we're going to be able to encourage people to retain stake because they're just not going to get voted if they're seen as cashing out. And because we know that they checked in with a real Hivian, we're sure they're a real user. And it's like, you start to build this credibility behind the way we distribute Hive, instead of at the moment, it's just kind of a free for all. So I think I'm very excited about that type of thing. And I think it could be very, very useful to solve the scenario that's being talked about here.
Interesting ideas. We're getting kind of at the end of the hour there. But was there anything else you wanted to raise?
Well, we sort of maybe I'll just kind of tie a little string on a lot of the stuff that I was hearing today, and then people can come in and bring in their last points. So it kind of like absolutely what Starkers was just, and it's great. It's like one of the pieces of the puzzle, like real musicians, verifying real musicians should be able to aid in getting those onboarded musicians more support. So that's one of the pieces of the puzzle. Then I think what we have is kind of what we were talking about grabbing some low-hanging fruit, maybe starting a type of a radio show. Maybe from this, a handful of us can motivate what it would mean and what it would look like, and start just start it. Start trying to do it. Trying to have a place for where people come to when they come. They've been onboarded. They have a place that they can go. They can be like, okay, I can go, and there's a little channel here in the Hive thing specifically for musicians, and then we have the music chat and the music live show, and you start to create that culture, and through that culture, you can you can slowly but surely start looking into like, okay, now how do we expand it? And so for me, I'm loving hearing what's, we have to kind of get out what's not going right. And then people that really do care about the music on Hive need to come together. We need to like try to find these places where we can come and create a little nurturing pool for anybody new onboarded and for the existing places. So we have a place to swim around and see each other and hear each other's music and support each other and make our own little niche that is working and thriving and little baby steps by baby steps. And so that's what I'm hearing out of today's show as a possible move forward. And maybe everybody want to kind of give their last words, and I want to just thank everybody in advance. It was a unique show for us. Probably if we do these panel shows, we should probably extend it to an hour and a half, but it is an hour show, so this is where we're at now.
Meno, what's your last thoughts?
Well, guys, I want to leave you guys with some positive thoughts, because I know that especially for songwriters or musicians in general, we can get all emotional and depressive. I certainly can. But the fact that we're having these conversations right now, the fact that we're getting together, the fact that this Hive Discord is coming back to life should have you feeling really good about this whole Hive journey of ours, because we're not dead, far from it. And these ideas that we're sharing today are going to be, the seeds that we're putting on the floor for really good things to come out of. I am confident that that's going to be the case. Today I am going to spend a lot of time thinking about Raven's business model, and maybe have a conversation with Eco, and maybe another friend of ours, and kind of go back and forth, because I think that can be something that the musicians and producers can use and be a game changer for Hive. And it's also, funny enough, is also connected to Stalkers, because Stalkers and I were talking about level 2, and well, I'm not going to go too much into that stuff, but we were having a similar conversation, but just not about musicians. We're talking about influencers, but it makes more sense with musicians because they have their crowd, the people that follow them. It makes a lot more sense. I think it's a smaller step that we can take in the right direction without having to have a gigantic influencer that that we're probably not going to like too much. A small band with a small following is probably a lot better. So I'm excited. This is good stuff, and everybody should be leaving today's conversation excited too. So that's all I'm going to say. I'll let
Raven, how about you?
Yeah, so thanks that you like this model and that you're interested. Like I just wrote, we can talk about that again. But for me, so I think just in general, Hive is a great place. I love Hive, and if I could, I would make full-time Hive my whole day. So I think we have a lot of opportunities and we have a good base for creative people, for musicians. We just need to build upon that. And like someone said before, we need this meeting point for musicians. Right now it's so spread, and here's a project and here, and these people don't know about this project, and we just need some point where all this meets. And I hope that this will be the case at some point, that someone is able to build this, or that we can really make a funding for it or stuff like that. So I'm always open to help with what I can. I'm always open to help with my ideas and stuff. And I really hope that we can build something bigger for musicians on Hive. Yeah.
Thank you, Raven. And Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I still believe in Hive. I think the potential is massive, and we just have to somehow break through. And I'd say support the music you enjoy, promote it, spread the word around. If you know other musicians who aren't on Hive, tell it to them, and let's make it a hub for music.
All right, and that is our panel that we've had speaking today. I've been interesting watching some other musicians have been dropping into the text channel here, and I'm seeing them reaching out to each other and wanting to connect, which tells me that that's been part of the problem, is it's been hard to connect. So I'm glad that this panel has created that opportunity. And I hope it becomes a catalyst for like minded musicians to come together and start thinking about what actually could be on Hive. And yeah, I agree with Meno. We've got to get the utility going there that supports something like Raven's business model, because that is actually very creative and it's got applications to other areas of the arts. So thank you everyone for participating in the panel, and thank you everyone for attending. And this has been the Hive Thrive Hour. And thank you to my co-host Buttcoins, and see you all next week. Oh, but next week, who have we got? I almost
Oh
forgot.
yeah. Oh yeah, next week we have the generously like he's kind of all over. He's the person that you go to for the current market information, and he's also just the dude that knows about conspiracy theories. And we're gonna get into an all over the place conversation with Addicted. So come and join next week as we talk to Addicted and see what he's doing these days.
Thanks, Butt. And that's a wrap for today.